Hello, my name is Dr. Ruth Newstifter. I'd rather you just call me Dr. Ruthie. I'm a professional sexuality educator and I blog over at exploringintimacy.com. I'm also the author of The Nice Girl's Guide to Talking Dirty, but today I'm here thanks to the fantastic folks at funwares.com who make these videos possible. I am answering your questions about sex and relationships, and specifically questions from those of you who are moms this month. Happy Mother's Day and Mother's Day month. I'm so glad that we have such wonderful moms in this world and that we have moms who are checking out these videos because they value their sexual health, well-being, and balance. Thank you so much for being here. All right, let's, if you want to send me a question, it's AskDrRuathie at funwares.com, or you can tweet it to Dr. Ruthie. All right, let's look at this question. I want some without feeling like I am always the initiator. My husband can be quite dense, and he does not get romantic cues at all. So I feel like I must shout while naked. Something not subtle but not swinging from a chandelier would be better for me. That is a fantastic question. And this can be a particular challenge when we're parenting because it's harder sometimes to work in time to flirt and initiate, and harder to have intimacy time. So you really want to get that message across in an efficient manner and see how it's going to go. My first suggestion, and maybe you've already done this or maybe not, but is to simply sit down together and say, hey, when you initiate sex, or when you're the one who comes up with the idea and proposes it to me, it makes me feel so good. And then to describe what those feelings are. So this is an opportunity to talk about the direction you want to go in, not to look backwards and complain about the problem that's happening. I'm all for open, honest communication, and sometimes complaining is the right thing to do, but oftentimes I see folks who are stuck in a rut where what they're doing is reiterating the sexual complaint and not exploring the direction that they want to move in. So you're phrasing it in, I'm not worried about where we have been or what the problem is sometimes. What I really want to talk to you about is how great I feel when it goes right, and I would love to help co-create a situation where it can go right even more than it does now. Okay, so we're saying it in a really positive way where nobody has to be defensive or has to feel bad about themselves because we don't know why he's not initiating and we don't know why he's not catching your cues. It could be a lot of different things. I don't know you personally, nor do I know your spouse, but you know, I work with many people where someone is diagnosed or suspected to be somewhere in the autistic spectrum, in which case giving those subtle messages and receiving them isn't going to work. And that's fine. It's just a different set of skills for learning how to communicate with each other. Or it could be that he's stressed and busy, or it could be that he just didn't catch those particular skills along the way, or it could be that that's just not his strong point, or he may not realize how important it is. It could also be that when he does try to initiate, or when he used to try to initiate, it didn't work very well, either with you or with someone else. And so there may be reason in the past where he learned a lesson not to be the initiator. I meet plenty of guys who are really awesome feminists, and even if they don't identify as feminists, I kind of think of them that way, and they really, really believe in equality and not pressuring their female partners, and that can sometimes go a little too far into the point where they feel like it's better to let her do all the initiating because I don't want to be that jerk. I don't want to be that guy. And that's a really loving, awesome reason. And it means that we need to figure out a way to communicate that respects that reason, or whatever reason it may be, and respects the direction that we want to go in. So that's my first suggestion, is the conversation. The next suggestion is to start to develop a secret couple language about sex. And that means that you're developing different ways to say to each other that I want to have sex, but you're also clearly telling your lover that that's what the secret message means until they get that memorized. So that could mean taking each other by the hands and tugging and saying, I'd like to spend a little time together now. And if they're like, well, I'm doing the taxes or the TV show is on, don't you want to see that? No. Remember what that means? I'd like to have a little time together now. Because it's built on that conversation where you said, you know what, here's some ways I'm going to let you know when I want to have sex with you. And I know this conversation isn't really romantic, but I'm telling you, and maybe even writing them down to help you so that we can both work together to help us to get laid more often. And who doesn't want that? Well, some people don't, but you want that, so that's good. So that means setting the groundwork and not expecting any kind of mind reading with it, because we just know that for whatever reason the communication isn't going through, so we have to step it up. Some people get these cute little pillows and they flip it over, or they get one of those little things like at a hotel room and they hang it outside the door, or they text their lover in the morning and say, hey, this evening I hope you're in the mood because I really think I'm going to be, and it would be great if we both were, you know, or whatever that flirtation may be. That sets the stage. If that isn't working for you, though, those more direct approaches are going to be necessary. Now, of course, just because you initiate doesn't mean that sex has to happen. The other thing that I want to bring up, kind of the third part of this, is recognizing that initiating sex can be so intimidating, and you've probably run into that before. And then when the other person says they aren't interested, you're like, oh, this is awkward, you know. And that can be really down for the other person too. It may also be that sometimes you or your spouse, your husband, doesn't really get in the mood until there's activity already happening. This is normal for men and for women across the lifespan, but especially after adolescence, that we don't realize that we might be in the mood until we've kind of gotten started. Oh, I guess I am in the mood, right? So basically the mood develops after starting. So that means that we find activities that we pleasurably want to engage in and then see if the mood strikes. It may be easier and more pleasant for him to initiate those kinds of things and to have a conversation. So he's not sure if he wants to have sex, he doesn't want to be that guy, or whatever his reason is for not initiating. But would it be different if what he was initiating is a really nice foot rub? And then see if we can communicate about whether we want to move it forward or not from there. And if there is not mutual interest in moving it forward, hey, somebody got a really great foot rub out of it and you had a little nice time together, so that's definitely a win. Sex isn't the only win here. We want to have lots of possibilities to win. So being able to initiate other kinds of activities that don't obligate us to have sex, but give us an opportunity to explore whether we both want to have sex later on in the activity or after the activity, that can be a great goal. So with that in mind, if you two of you have a conversation about that, and that sounds like a good possible direction for you, it may be that on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, it's up to him to initiate a nice form of being in contact with each other that can be sensual and romantic, and put it in the calendar. And if it's necessary, it means we send text messages to ourselves or each other to remember to do that. Whatever is necessary to keep that on the top of the mind. And then your days are Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and Sunday is free for all or sleep in or whatever you do. And so then you each have different days. And, you know, 6 days a week is actually a lot. I might say, like, you're Mondays and he's Thursdays. Whatever kind of schedule works for you. And so, again, you're initiating something that sets a context where you both may decide you want to have sex, and it's easier to have that conversation now that you've started touching each other a little bit, but it's still a win even if that's the only thing that occurs when you're getting together. I hope that this is helpful for you. I'm Dr. Ruthie. I hope the two of you go out and get laid like crazy and you both initiate it, and I will see you at the next video. Thanks.